Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So let's begin our session with a wonderful quote. To find yourself, think for yourself. Your personal brand is a promise to your client, a promise of quality, consistency, competency, and reliability. The keys to brand success are self definition, transparency, authenticity, and accountability. Greetings of the day. Good evening to everyone. I, Lakshmi, being your host for today's international webinar on the topic personal branding, extends my warm greeting and a very good evening to all of you present here. Personal branding is like a craft. Is like crafting your professional identity, a deliberate effort to showcase your unique qualities and expertise. It's the art of marketing yourself, distinguishing from the crowd, and leaving a lasting impression on others. Consistency in your action, communication, and online presence is a key to building a strong personal brand that reflects your values and aspiration. In today's interconnected world, a well managed personal brand can open doors to opportunities and create a positive perception in the eyes of peers, employers, or clients. On behalf of whole SEMS family, I welcome you all for today's international webinar on personal branding. And to add our guest of honor, today's speaker is Mr. Isaac. It is a great honor to have you with us, sir. We are grateful for your presence here with us today. Mr. Isaac is BALLB honors, business startup consultant, a certified career coach, and a branding expert, a first generation entrepreneur and 3x founder. Mr. Isaac has also founder and a managing consultant in Ski Sambu Business Solution. Mr. Isaac crafts his own personal brand, builds website and uses proven copywriting strategies to earn forex. Now over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Lakshmi, for this wonderful introduction. And thank you so much, my good friends and family who have turned up tonight. Again, thank you so much for welcoming me. I run SBS, like I've been introduced. For short, it's Seche Sample Business Solutions, but for short, it's SBS. You can just call it that. It's personal branding, business consultancy, and also business startup firm that supports individuals that just want that have a passion for entrepreneurship, and they are creators who just want to become great at their art and also convert their readers into paying clients. That's why we are here. If you're here not to make money, you're in the wrong place, because what I'm going to give you tonight are tips that are going to help you make money. I have been using my brand personally to make money. Of course, so many people here could be students. I don't know how many. Among us, some of us could be students. You might be a student at master's. You might be a student at PhD level. I don't care which level you're at. But if you're a student and you're in a country where you're not allowed to work, you can still make money. If you're a student, I'm sure you also need to do what we call internship. But again, before you apply for internships, how are you going to be able to get this spot? You know how many students are out there in the world looking for internship and they are screaming for the same spots. So how do you cut through this noise? It's going to be your personal brand that is going to cut the gates for you and leave other people and cut the queues. You know how it feels when you are on like, have you ever been on a food line? I mean, there is a long queue, and then there is this person who is kind of like a special person who comes and picks you out of that line and walks with you all the way to the front. You know how you feel? You're like, you want to smile, but then again you feel like it will be evil for you to smile because there are other people on the line and stuff like that. And you just follow through all the way that side. That feeling of it's like winning a lottery. That's the same thing, the same feeling that a good personal brand gives you and promises to us all. These are not things that we just talk about. Some of you are hearing the word personal brand for the first time. Others have had it so many times and it has become cliche. However, a personal brand is not something that you should just get used to. It is something that you should live out. And by the way, everybody has a personal brand. The only question is that what do you use your brand for? Today, in the digital age, we have even online branding like LinkedIn, Facebook. and Instagram and all these other social media platforms. Back then, people used to say a good name is better than riches. I think they still say it. In India, I've witnessed that. I've seen so many people with big names because they have money. Others, they have big names because they're in big political offices. And of course, those names sometimes have more net worth than the companies these people are running. So a big name is better than wealth. And that's what personal branding also brings to you. So there are so many opportunities of that you can get or that your personal brand can unlock. If you're a business person, people need to know you. People need to see you. People need to hear you and people need to trust you. What is that and how does that come about? Your personal brand. If your personal brand is not as good, if people cannot trust you, then they won't buy from you, or maybe very few people will be able to buy from you. Now, one more thing that I have to do before I even continue, I have to ask, what do you do? Some of the people who are here, what profession are you in? If you're a student, you can type I'm a student, or maybe you can just put student. If you are a creator, you can put creator. If you're an entrepreneur, you can put entrepreneur. If you are if you are a professional, maybe you're doing 9 to 5, you can also put 9 to 5. I mean, don't be ashamed. We are not here to judge you. We just want to understand so that I can be able to share with you more specific information tied to where you are so that it's relevant and you're not just here to pass time. All right. So thank you so much for all those people, first of all, who have turned up and on time. Yes, I can see students, I can see interns. I need to see some entrepreneurs as well. I'm sure they are here as well. Yes, I'm seeing Mr. Paul here, educator. Yes, I can see several people here. All right. So now I have something here and I'm going to share my screen. So just give me a few minutes. Let me share my screen here and then we get started. All right. I'm going to make sure you just view it in full mode, read mode. Okay, great. So you can see my screen very well and you can hear me, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, great, great. So this is where we begin from. This is where we begin from. Building a strong foundation is the first thing when we look at personal branding. So again, yeah, this is my session note that I prepared when I was told that you're going to deliver something to these wonderful people. I said, wow, I will be there. And I had to think about how best can I simplify personal branding for the audience that will be turning up tonight. And of course, the first under building a strong foundation, I have two lessons that I've prepared for you tonight. I have understanding your authentic self, and the second session or second topic is defining your target audience. Now, these are essential, but we are going to first look at a quotation here, and by who? Jeff Bezos. Some of you know who Jeff Bezos is. Is the founder of what? Amazon, right? Yes. If you know Amazon, then you know Jeff Bezos. He is also a founder of uh of other companies, like he also some space explorations, some companies that deal with space explorations and so many other things. So this is what he has said about personal branding. Your personal brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. Do you remember what I said? Everybody has a personal brand, but some of us don't use our brands or we use them in the wrong way. What do I mean? Personal branding is not something you don't have. You already have it right now. People already know you for something. They know you as a quiet person. They know you as a noisy person. They know you as someone who lies too much. They know you as someone who takes people's things and you never return them. We call that theft. But of course, we want to give it a better word so that you don't get offended. They know you for, I mean, those people are not here anyway in this conference, this session. So anyway, so people know you for something. They know you as someone who adds value. They know you as someone who is relevant. They know you as someone who is quarrelsome. They know you as someone who is, I mean, you are a giver. You're someone who is compassionate. They know you for so many things. So that's your personal brand. What do people speak about you when you're not in the room? That's who you are. That's who you are. You don't necessarily have to say, this is my personal brand. It is what you live that what people know is what matters, not what you say. Even if I say the whole day that I'm a branding expert and I don't do what branding experts do, I'm not going to be a branding expert. I'm just going to say it for the sake of saying. Even if I say that I'm a startup coach, but I don't do what startup coaches do, I'm going to be that. I'm just going to say Isaac, just Isaac, who wanna be. I'm just going to say a wannabe, but not actually that person. So what you do or how you live your life, the small habits the small things that you do every day, the things that for which are the things that people know you for. That is your personal brand. I think I've made this point clear. So what do people know about you when you are not around in that room? Can people recommend you even in the first place? What does your employer say about you? What do employees say about you? Can people recommend your business? Some of us don't like people speaking behind our backs, but those things that people could be saying behind your back could also be true. Someone used to say that there is no smoke without fire, right? Of course, I'm not trying to say that everything that people are going to say is right about people. But what I'm trying to say is that most of the time, what people say about you is what you have displayed yourself to them. That's how they know you. That's how you have always revealed yourself. That's your brand. It's stuck in their heads. You know, if we randomly ask people, we are looking for dancers, we are looking for musicians, I'm not going to pick you if you've never sung before. They may say, can we call this person sing? They say, no, not that one. Can we call so and so? No, not that person. Can we call so and so? No, not that person. I have a person in mind, and this person is a good singer. This person is a good dancer. This person is a good teacher, is a great teacher. This person is a great speaker. They are going to call that person. Why? Because this person has already created the impression in this person's mind, the recommender's mind, that he is capable of this particular skill that they are headhunting for, you know? So your personal brand is what actually people know, the impression that you create in the people's minds, that even when they are asleep and they ask them, who is the best footballer? They will either, some of us are still struggling to find out whether it's Messi, whether it's Ronaldo, you know, football lovers. So again, if we are asking who is Donald Trump, some people will speak about Donald Trump as a president. Some people speak about Donald Trump as a businessman and $1 billion, a billionaire. You understand? So if we ask who is Ratan Tata, everyone is not going to talk about him as a father first. They are going to talk about him as a compassionate person. They are going to talk about his businesses. They are going to talk about his contributions. I mean, that's the impression he has created in the minds of the people that he is serving in India and also abroad, because it's not only limited to India. So again, coming to the part, we are discussing the importance of self-awareness. In today's session, I want to discuss with you the importance of self-awareness in your personal brand, explore the unique strengths, values, and passions, and compare successful personal brands with inauthentic ones. So we start with the first question, the importance of self-awareness in personal branding. Every personal brand begins with self-awareness. What does this mean? Let me break it down for you. Self-awareness is simply, what am I? What am I capable of? What skills do I possess? How do I utilize these skills? Add value. If you were a singer, a musician, how do you utilize the skills that you have? Let me tell you one other thing. Whatever skills that you know, whatever you are, anything that you profess to be doesn't make sense until and unless it adds value to the community, to the general good of the population. If it doesn't add any value, it doesn't matter what you are, it doesn't matter what you're good at. I mean, it doesn't matter. So the essence of us creating a profound brand, or why people might prefer certain brands to others, is because of the value some brands add compared to others. If your personal brand is a thief, definitely you're not adding any value. You're deducting value from the community. You know, you're a nuisance to the community. If your personal brand is a teacher, you're adding value through the continuous information that you share about the education nuances, about the things, about how parents can improve, can support their students when they are home, about how teachers can be able to become supportive to these teenagers who are becoming stubborn in school, and so on and so forth. You're trying to portray yourself as someone who is relevant. especially in the age of technology, which is advancing. You need to make sure that you are relevant through the value that you add. I told you in the start that everybody has a personal brand. However, some brands are a nuisance. And if you're here and you are not paying attention to that, I needed to echo that again. If your brand is only as relevant as long as it can add value, the value that you add is what we look at and we are like, wow, this person has a good brand. So the good brand starts with self-awareness. What are you? What is that skill that you have? What are you capable of? I mean, you may want something, definitely, but you're not capable of doing that thing. So the question is not what do you want? The question is what can you do? What can you offer? What is your strength? What are your unique abilities? That is where the question should lie. Self-awareness. Let me tell you, one person has once said that you can lie to everybody, but you cannot lie to yourself. If you lie to yourself, you're headed for a downfall. I know my strengths. I have applied for some jobs before, which I knew I don't qualify. I don't qualify geographically. I also don't qualify skills wise. You understand? I also don't qualify sometimes, even with the qualifications that I have. So I know whenever I would be rejected for such jobs, I would not be mad because I am aware that I was just using a basket. You understand? I was using just a basket with holes to fetch water. Hmm? So that was useless because I mean, I knew who I am, but I still wasted my energy. But I'm trying to tell you that once you have learned yourself, by the way, I no longer do that now. I only apply for things that I know I can manage, and I only go for things that I know I can do because I'm now very much aware of who I am, what I can do, what I can't do. And if I'm interested in something, my advice that I give to myself, and I'm giving it to you right now, is that invest time in that particular skill. Do you want to dance? Do you feel like dancing is your thing? Do you feel like um, law is your thing? Do you feel like education or academics is your thing? And you want to do something around that field? Then become aware of the skills that you have. What skills can place you within this particular field, this particular niche that you're eyeing? If you don't have these particular skills, then my advice is go and upskill, learn those skills. After you have learned these skills, start adding value. Now that we have LinkedIn, I prefer to use LinkedIn. I already share a lot of insights on LinkedIn about my progress in my niche. I already share tips on how you can build your personal brand. I already share tips on how you can build an effective online startup, how you can cut through the noise and get and convert your leads. Convert your leads from readers to paying clients. I already share these tips. Why? But in the first place, actually in 2019, I could not do that. Why? Because I didn't have the skills. I became aware that I didn't have the skills to train people to be businessmen, to train people to manage struggling startups, to train people to become branding experts or to manage their personal brands. But now, 2023, I am capable of doing this after 2 years of investment and I myself trying out these very things myself. I have come to realize that now the things I could not do back then, I can now do. Why? Because I have invested on my skills bank and I've also practically invested in trying out these things such that by the time I share them with people and audiences like you guys, I've already tested them and I'm sharing from that experience. I'm drawing from that very post. The next thing is explore your unique strengths, values, and passions. It's almost the same thing that I've been sharing. What are your strengths? You have to find out what are your strengths. If you don't know your strengths, you're going to fail. You're going to keep trying. There is no need for you to reinvent the wheel when there are people that have already walked the journey that you want to walk. You want to be a good educator, a good consultant. You want to be a good lawyer. You want to be a good doctor. You want to be all these good things that you want to be. There is no need for you to reinvent things. What you can do is that find what is your strength. And then your strength doesn't mean generally power. Your strength can be in building connections, building worthy connections. That's one of my strengths because I get to meet different people and people who are especially good in my niche and I get to consult with them, I get to engage with them. And these people have added a lot of knowledge to me. Your strength can bail you. Sometimes some people who are starting businesses, their strength is identifying the right talent for your startup. You may not be able to know everything about startup. I mean, you may not be able to manage your sales. You may not be able to convert your sales, your leads into paying clients. There are so many things that you may not be able to do. However, when your strength is to identify talent, then you're going to rely on that strength to build your brand. Because what's your brand in this case? You are a startup and you want to make sure you build a unique startup. For instance, you want to make sure you give clients a good impression that your brand is there for them. You're going and maybe you realize you're not someone who can write good blogs. Then you're going to your strength. One of the strengths that you may have is to look for people who you can headhunt to write for you successful blogs that can convert your clients. So identify what are your unique strengths for your business. If you are an intern, a student who is looking to do internship, what is your strength? Because when you're going to for internship, you're not just going to send a blank letter which is written by ChatGPT. You have to tell the law firm specifically. If you're going for, let's say, law firm, if you're going for engineering, you're going to have to include what are those unique abilities, what are those strengths that this firm, that this business is going to benefit from you. If you're someone running a startup, you need to find out, evaluate yourself. What are your values? What are your passions? What are you passionate about? Every good and strong brand is built on passion. When you look at Ratan Tata, for most of the people who are here, if they're an Indian audience, what is his value? What are his values? What does he stand for? What is he passionate about? We saw him during COVID-19 shipping in and around cylinders of oxygen. And all this was not paid for. I mean, that placed Tata Company in a good position because people are looking at his brand as a brand that cares about the people. This is how he has built a brand for his company, Tata, and the Tata Group in general. But also, Mr. Ratan Tata himself, he has gained himself more prestige, his own prestige for his own name and for his own family and his own brand. Why? His values. What are your values? If you're there and you don't have values, your brand is going to suffer. I have values for myself, and most of the time, as a startup founder or as a person who runs two startups and agencies, I find myself infusing my personal values within these very startups. If time management is your personal value, you can utilize that to manage your customers and make sure your customer experience is amazing. If time management is your thing, you can utilize that in your things that you do. So what you make sure you find your unique strength, you find your values, and also you find something that you're passionate about. Lastly, I've been already doing this other part, the last part, if you've been realizing, comparing successful personal brands with authentic ones. Now, let me tell you a story. There are businesses, startups that I have seen. They start up very well, obviously. Everything is going on well. They promise so much. And of course, then they can deliver. So clients trust them because they have a very good handwriting. By handwriting, I don't mean that the clients are reading anyway because they are typed. But what I mean is that the language they use to compel the clients to buy or to persuade is amazing. I mean, anyone can buy from them. You write a very good CV, you write out a very good letter. I mean, no one can reject you. But the reality comes here. After people have accepted the offer, for instance, you're a startup, you start to get to work and then you produce substandard. Maybe you're going to produce standard, but then you take time, you don't deliver on time, you delay, a client is frustrated. Maybe you are an intern, you have over praised yourself and you have given yourself attributes that you don't even possess. Why? Because you lack self-awareness, because you think it's just looking amazing for you to say these beautiful words and adjectives and verbs that you've added on your piece of cover letter or CV or whatever. Now the reality hits you when they give you these particular things that you want, that you're saying you can do and you can't do them, or you're doing rubbish. automatically the impression you're giving this client or this employer is that you are a failure. You can't. They are not going to recommend you. And when you shall want, certainly when you shall want an opportunity with this person next time, they are not going to accept. Why? The first impression is always the best impression. It's a lasting impression. Make sure whenever you're given the opportunity, whenever you have the opportunity, whenever you create yourself the opportunity, use the first impression as if it's your last impression, because it's your lasting impression. That's the only time you get to build your personal brand before this particular new audience. It can be your employer, it can be your new fellow employees that are new and have just joined your department. It could be your startup and you're getting new leads and converting them into clients, paying clients. What you do with this person, how you promise, you know, how you promise, what you have written, whatever you say, anything that you say is going to either affect how they see you in a positive sense, which means that's a good brand, or give them a negative sense about you, and that's going to last forever. Now, in business, there is no better strategy in marketing than word of mouth and testimonials. When you can do all the advertising you want, you can do all the posters that you want, you can promote as much as you want, but as long as people don't see the social proof, as long as people don't hear it from another person that you're what you claim to be, they are not going to be compelled to trust you. Same thing, go get this internship, do your very best. When they write you a good recommendation, you can use that recommendation for your next job, for your next internship, because you created a good impression about yourself through your values, through your passions, through your strengths that are true, that you have discovered, and that you correctly reported through your writing, through your statements, through your cover letters, through your CV. We go to the next thing, defining your target audience. This is the last thing I'm dealing with tonight. Defining your target audience is very important. You cannot talk about personal branding without defining your target audience. What is your target audience? Who are the people that you want to communicate to? Audiences differ. If I'm going to a funeral, I'm not going to speak while cracking jokes. People think I am on drugs. If I'm going to a wedding, I'm not going to bring up things that are going to make people fight. I'm not going to bring up dark secrets about the bride if I'm the MC. If I've gone to a comedy, imagine going to a comedy and all that I'm saying is things that are dividing people, is things that is making people angry instead of making them laugh. That shows that I've not understood my assignment. It shows that I've not understood my audience. So defining your target audience is very, very key in personal branding. I've told you, let me re-echo it one more time. Everybody has a personal brand. I will have to say that again. However, some brands are good and other brands are bad. I don't know what your brand is, but a good brand is that which adds value in any way, in any niche. A niche can come from your passion and strength. What are you passionate about? That I am passionate about 1, 2, 3 things. But what is that one thing that tops the list? Then go for that thing. Then again, you might be passionate about 3 things, but your strengths differ. What is that one passion for which you have even the strengths or the unique abilities to perform and to deliver the value that is required? Then again, that is the thing I recommend you would go for. I love speaking. I went to do personal branding because I know I can deliver. I know I have the confidence that can support me to deliver. I know I can go into debate and I can deliver. I know I can go to court and I can represent a client. I know I can go to other business professionals and I pitch my business ideas. So I use speaking as my strength. I know I can research, so I can make a lot of analysis on different things. I can do the SWOT analysis to find out who are my competitors, what are their weaknesses, what are their strengths, what are their opportunities that are available. So the strength being research enables me to do so much and advance in my business. I know I am a good writer, especially in copywriting. I can write good sales copies that are going to convert for me, and I will be converting leads, not just on LinkedIn, not just through my blogs, not that just through emails, but also on WhatsApp. So don't think that WhatsApp is a good tool, but WhatsApp is one of the best tools for branding yourself. Be careful what goes on your statuses. What goes on your statuses 90% of the time is actually who you are. There is no lie about that. 90% of the time, I think I'm even undervaluing that. Maybe 99% of the time, what people view on your status is the impression that you have created in their minds about you. And that's how they see you. Haven't you found someone who always puts memes, but then when you find them, they are one of the most unsocial beings that you've ever met, and your expectation was otherwise? You thought this person is going to be jolly, cracking jokes 24/7, but they were seated in the corner somewhere and they were never saying a thing. They were just glued on their phone. They are giving you another reality. Now, be careful because your personal brand also starts on your status. I've told you the small things that you don't pay attention to, the small habits, that is your brand. Your personal brand is not what you tell people it is. It is the things that you do, either as a business person, either as a student, either as an employee, either as an employer. The things that you do, the knowledge about you in the people's minds is your personal brand. What they see, what they hear, what they read about you makes them trust you. If you're a business person, they want to trust you. If they trust you, then you're going to convert them into paying clients. So defining your target audience, coming back, I've summarized again the whole topic up. Sorry, I'll have to take you back and forth because I have to make sure I leave no one behind. Personal branding is a big topic. I offer this as a session and it's covered in 4 weeks. We normally do 4 sessions with my other clients that book this particular personal branding masterclass. So again, topic 2, defining your target audience. This is what Jeff Bezos said. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. So what is your target audience? Like I said, audiences differ. You have to be versatile in nature. You're not going to say, Isaac, I put memes because my audience is of memers. Then it's okay. Maybe your intention is to earn money through memes. Then it's okay. Maybe then you might get people who are going to hire you. But of course, your audience may not be viewers of memes, but rather people or companies that want you to create memes might be your audience, not actually viewers who are just going to laugh and repost and say, ha, 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 you're a funny person. If you're a memer and maybe you're good at writing good punchlines, your target audience might be comedians. You understand? Or maybe it could be a media company. If you're someone who writes a lot of good blogs, your target audience could be publishing houses. That could be your target audience. If you're an educator who writes a lot of inspirational quotes about education, your target audience could be teachers, your target audience could be students, your target audience could be parents, your target audience could be, what is that audience? But you have to narrow your audience. The more specific you are, the better the results, because you cannot serve everyone. Narrow your niche down. Lamborghini doesn't sell to everyone like Toyota, but Lamborghini has a big brand internationally. It doesn't sell to everyone, but they have a particular audience. They have narrowed their audience, and their audience takes prestige in the product quality that Lamborghini offers. Rolls-Royce doesn't offer everyone a Rolls-Royce. Some years they make only 3, some years they make 5, and these are all already pre-booked. Why don't they make so many cars like Toyota does? I'm not saying Toyota is a bad company. I'm trying to show you that while Toyota may be producing for everyone and they're getting money from any person, even that one with a budget, these particular big brands like Lamborghini and Rolls-Royce, they have particular clients. They are targeting unique people, a certain set of people. And that's why they will not even advertise themselves on your Facebook. They won't even advertise themselves on your TV. Because one time I found a certain meme that why they don't do that is because their audience is not seated around watching TV. So what is your target audience? It's very important. Identify and understand your target audience, then tailor your message to resonate with your audience. Whatever you say has to resonate with your audience. If my target, as I'm doing internship, what is my target? My target is to get into SEBI. My target is to get into government. My target is to get into this law firm. My target is to join Unilever. My target is to join Coca-Cola. As who? As a computer engineer. As who? As this person, as this person, as the other person. So in that case, if your target is to be employed by these reputable companies as an engineer, as a lawyer, as a doctor, as whatever field that you're in, your target audience is going to become HRs that are working within these particular fields. And by the way, it's even much better to follow these particular HRs in the companies that you want to work in, your dream companies, because then you'll be seeing every job posting, you'll be seeing the skills that they want, and that will help you to upskill and match up to those skills level. And then by the time you apply, you already tick every box. So know your audience. Knowing your audience is very important for you as a job seeker, and it's also very important for you as a student who is looking for opportunities of internship. It's also very important for you as a startup founder or as a founder who is looking to make sure that you convert these readers into your leads or your sales, paying clients. Finally, we have been analyzing effective brands, that have effective target audience. Myself, I don't target everyone. My target audience are people who want to to communicate better, to engage better with their audiences. People like you. You can be a student, you can be a startup founder, you can be a CEO, you can be a thought leader, provided you want to make your message clear to the world. Because personal branding is not about it's not about you being the expert. It's not about you having so much knowledge. It's also about how best you communicate your message, how best you convey your message, such that the intended audience gets exactly what you wanted, such that there is only one meaning to the message that you're trying to give, but also how you format your message. Because today, most of the things are in writing. And of course, you on LinkedIn, you have only 8 seconds to capture people's attention. If your writing is blocked, you're writing things like there is no tomorrow because you have so much knowledge. All that you're going to ever get is likes, 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 likes. Actually, no one is reading your information because people don't have time. There are so many distractions online. So if you're using any online platform and you want to stay relevant, make sure your writing is under 500 words and use one-liners, use a lot of white space so that your message is clear, simple, and precise. You don't have to mumble and gamble. Just be straight to the point. Short, clear, crisp, on point, and use a photo because people love visuals. So in case you have any questions, I will be taking them right now because this is almost over.
Thank you, sir, for such a nice session. I think there is one question in the chat box. So let me open it. So one question is from me itself. So the thing is, even before personal branding, we have to know who we are first, right? So can you please elaborate if this is true?
Yes, 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 yes. Knowing
So
yourself is the first.
yeah.
Knowing yourself is the first thing. Yes.
Yeah, so like how do we get to know ourselves first? Like for a fresher, who's entering into some career, how do we get to know that our personal things? So like if we want to start a startup, how do we identify ourselves even before we start this, personal branding?
Okay, great. So that is under niching. Niching is like choosing what are you mostly passionate about. So how do you know what you're passionate about? It's a journey of self-reflection. Knowing yourself is not something that they are going to teach you in class. It's not something that someone is going to tell you, oh, by the way, you're this. Well, that's also one of the things that people can tell you. Your parents could tell you. I mean, listen, be observant. Knowing yourself takes a lot of things, a combination of reflecting and listening. You have to be around. What do people say you are? Could be saying you're funny. You're funny. You're so funny. I love that. How did you come up with that? How did you think about that? That's so funny. Already you know you can be a comedian. That's because you yourself you crack jokes effortlessly. If you find yourself liking to crack digits every now and then, you're the person every time there is a discussion, you're the one who comes with facts, or you immediately run to Google to fact check. Just know you're already a good researcher. Explore things around research because for you, a fact finder, you want facts, you're interested in facts, you don't want, I mean, you can utilize that skill. If you're someone who loves talking or speaking or writing, keep writing. I mean, knowing yourself takes time. It takes time. You can never conclude in 1 year and say, okay, I found myself in 1 year. People travel all the way from the US, from UK, and they were like, I was lost, so I went to India and sat down in a temple and I found myself. You understand? I'm not saying go to the temple, but what I'm trying to say is that reflect, take time, spend 30 minutes a day, think about what you have done so far, think about the past, think about your strengths, what do you do effortlessly? What do you do effortlessly? By effortlessly, I mean without putting in so much. What can you do? That can be your unique strength. And again, what's the skills that you have are skills that those are your beginning points for earning. If your skills are amazing, like public speaking, you can use it. You can speak on functions. You can speak, I mean, you can speak like what I'm doing right now. You can start a public a coaching to coach public speakers. You understand? There is a lot. So knowing yourself doesn't happen in 1 day and certainly doesn't happen in a month. But every time you spend time with yourself, reflect. These things I tell you, I also do. So morning times are good because you can sit somewhere randomly, put in very soft music, or if music doesn't work for you, just sit somewhere and just start to think about who you are, think about what you can do, think about the skills you currently possess, think about your vision. What do you want to be? What do you want to do in life? And don't force it so much. If it's not coming, if a picture is not coming, relax. Do it again tomorrow. Then relax. Do it again another day. And in case it persists, then you can work with a coach. Work with a coach and grow slowly. You say, okay, I'm interested in these three things. Can you help me niche down to one? Because I have skills in all these things. Can you work with me? And we see which one will work for me best. And then I always do that. There are people who are confused and I help them to niche down to certain things because I also used to have that until I niched down to now personal branding and business startups. But I have so many other skills and that really confused me a lot. For the first years on LinkedIn, it confused me until finally I said, okay, after reflection, I was like, I think I love speaking, but I'm going to use my speaking skills to help people communicate better and to help people work on their brands and to help people, to coach people who want to start up and give them all these tactics on how they can cut the long channels of starting and also converting their leads into paying clients. Yes. Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you, sir. And there is one more question. Isn't personal brand just like one's personality?
Pardon again on that question.
Isn't personal brand just like one's personality?
Of course, that's what I've been saying from the very beginning. That everyone has a personal brand. We know you because of what you do every day. If you keep people's things for no reason and you don't want to admit that and you don't want to say, then you're a thief. But of course, that's your brand. That's your personality. But in business, it's a bit different. That's why I told you the values that you have as a person are the foundation for your personal brand. What are your values? What do you stand for? If Mr. Ratan Tata, his value is compassion, he is not going to think twice when COVID comes before he starts distributing cylinders, oxygen cylinders around India, and he's going to do it free because his value is compassion and he's reflecting that through all his companies. I'm using him just as an example. But again, there are other examples that we can look at. If my personality, me personally, I'm very talkative person. So my personality being that, I am using that very thing that I have not to become community nuisance and a noisemaker and channeling it down to now business. How can I use this skill to earn money? This is my personality, but it is my brand because people now are going to know me as a good speaker and not as a noisemaker. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's the thing. So your personality can be infused within your personal brand. Those two may not be separated until you have started a company which has different, of course, personality altogether. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, sir. What a wonderful knowledge given by you, sir. I hope our audience learned many new things from this session. I would like to highlight some of the points like authenticity, personal branding. Personal branding thrives on authenticity. Be true to yourself. Showcase your genuine skill and personality, and let your uniqueness shine through. Consistency, whether it's your online presence, professional demeanor, or communications, maintain consistency in how you present yourself, build trust, and a recognizable brand image. Value proposition clearly defines what sets you apart, your skills, expertise, or unique qualities. Communicate a clear proposition that answers the question, why should someone choose you? Visibility, actively manage your online presence and visibility. Engage in a relevant communities, share your expertise, and curate a professional image that aligns with your personal brand. I hope the knowledge shared with us by Mr. Isaac would have made a great impact on our life and hope that everyone starts practicing them slowly. Again, thank you for joining us and sharing your experience, your precious time and knowledge with all of us. Sir, there are few questions which our audience wants to be answered. So, with your permission, shall
Yes,
we proceed?
yes.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, yes.
What are the four W's of personal branding?
What are the four W's of personal branding? Let me see. Just a minute. May I know the question is from who exactly? That's an interesting one.
So, actually, this question is from our YouTube audience.
YouTube audience?
Yes.
Oh, well, nice. So I'm not going to specifically go into the four W's of personal branding, but one thing I can do, like I said when I was starting here, I am not here to try to complex or give you this code or this what or this acronym or that. I just want to give you the simplest form and understanding of personal branding. There are so many formats that have been developed. I can also give you the four P's of personal branding. I can also give you the four M's of personal branding. I can also give you the four C's of personal branding. I mean, these are things and concepts that different people provide. So I'm not going to go into these nitty gritties of codes or that. Like you have seen, I've tried to make sure I speak to the least person in on the chat. If anyone wants anything advanced, that is something that we can do in advanced sessions where they can book separately in our sessions. But for now, for purposes of this call, I prefer to make this as simple and as to the layman's level as possible. So I will decline to answer that question on this call particularly for reasons of simplicity only. I don't want to confuse anyone living with now the four C's, now the four P's, now the I mean, there's so much. But if someone uniquely wants to understand this, I have a website where they can come and then we have one-on-one. We advance this. Like I said, the personal branding masterclass that I offer takes 4 weeks. Now you can imagine how much I haven't said. And I've only summarized to simplify. There is a lot that I've left out, even as much as I have shared a lot in this 1 hour. We cannot exhaust everything. If something is simple and it's not going to confuse our audience for what we have shared today, only what we have talked about today, please you can go ahead and ask.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for answering the question. So the next one is, what is the difference between personal brand and personal branding?
Okay, personal brand and personal branding. Like I said, a personal brand. We are not going to say a personal brand is different from personal branding. To specify or to make it simple, a personal brand is the impression, how people know you, how people know your company, how people know your startup. What impression have you created in the viewers' minds? That is your personal brand. Again, personal branding is simply the process of creating a personal brand. Like I said, everyone has a personal brand. All of us here have a personal brand, but your personal brand is either a nuisance to society if it doesn't add value, or it's actually adding value. So the process of adding value is what we call personal branding because it's an intentional process. It's an intentional process of adding value. So the things that you do The small, small things, the habits, the intentional steps that you take, that process is what we call personal branding. Like what being part of this session, the things I've been sharing, like your authenticity, like finding the values, like defining your audience, like making sure you niche down, like the content structures, the formatting. If you're using LinkedIn, I mean, these are the things that would fall under personal branding. Personal branding is simply the journey you take, it's the roadmap. But a personal brand is who you are, it's how people view you, it's how people perceive you. Yes.
Thank you, sir. So the next one is, why do we need a personal brand?
Yes. Like I started by giving some examples of good personal brands and why a personal brand is very relevant. When we have this question, first of all, as a student, let me start with students. A personal brand is going to give you opportunities of being blessed very fast because you're very relevant.
Question is, why do we need a personal brand?
Okay. Like I was sharing that you need a personal brand. One, if you are a company or someone who is the owner of a startup, most of the time you're going to find yourself that people need to trust you. Personal branding, how I teach the people who are starting up for the first time, I always give them these four things. People need to know you, but before people know you, they need to see you. Before people see you, I mean, when people see you, they need to hear you. You know, they need to know you, they need to see you, they need to hear you, they need to trust you. Let me say it again. People need to know you, people need to see you, people need to hear you before they can trust you. So that is a summary of my whole personal branding classes, always. Now, in the knowing you, it happens with the small, small things that you do every day. That's why I said, even what you post on your statuses 99% of the time speaks a lot about who you are. If you're a business person, your personal brand is going to bring about trust. The ultimate goal of personal branding is the trust, because we are looking at this community, the target audience, to pay us in some way. If your personal brand is not about paying you, then it's about building a name and prestige. So personal branding for the audience that is here, I'm sure you should be able to use it for payments. This employer who is going to employ you is actually your follower on LinkedIn. What do you write about yourself? What do you write about this job engineering? What do you write about law? What do you write about medicine? I mean, what are these? Do you show that you are an authority? If you do, by the time you apply for this particular job XYZ, people are going to check out your LinkedIn profile and they're going to read these wonderful posts where you have been sharing lots of insights and they are going to want to work with you. I have got so many connections and I've got so many public speaking opportunities simply because of my personal brand. And I've also got right now in December, I might be traveling to Uganda, but I have so many engagements waiting for me on the line. Why? Because I constantly show up and I share my brand as a brand that you can rely on to grow your business and to also improve your personal brand as a student, as a professional, and also as someone who is either an employer or you are a thought leader in your industry, and so on and so forth. So personal branding's purpose is to convert your target audience into paying clients. That's the ultimate goal. If you're a student, it's to get you that internship. It is to get you that job. If you are an employer, it is to get you that employee that you need. You're going to write about your workplace and how your workplace offers the best amenities. And you're going to write about yourself and how your values are infused within your workplace. And people will want to work with you. So your personal brand is what gets you what you want. I told you, and I give the illustration of someone coming and pulling you out of the line and taking you at the front to serve you. It is that privilege that comes with a good personal brand. If you don't have a good personal brand, you're always going to wait in the line like everybody else.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for answering those questions. Again, thank you all for attending today's webinar. And if you have any additional questions, you can contact us by email or telephone. We are happy to provide additional support to you. Please follow us on a social media and subscribe to our YouTube channel for new learning